Hello and welcome to the Conference Championship Week of the NFL and the Turnover NFL podcast. I'm back alongside Kelvin Reisenfeld as always. We're excited. We had a great week last week of divisional round. We're ready to go for the conference championships. We're going to start just like we started last week, kind of recapping the divisional rounds and going over what the winners did right and wrong. Let's start off with the NFC side, Packers versus Rams. Kel, what you got on this game?
No, it was a great game, honestly, to watch. It was really interesting to see how this Packers offense was really going to line up against the best defense in the league. And it was pretty obvious that Jalen Ramsey could not contain Davante Adams that last week. He's a beast. He can't stop the guy off the line. He's too quick. Packers all around look great. 296 yards again for Aaron Rodgers and 2 TDs. Aaron Jones, 99 yards. Jamal Williams, 65. They've got a good combo back. And I love it. I love it. Their defense does look a little shaky at times, but other than that, I love what the Packers are bringing to the table.
Yeah, I think the Packers are a team that have fully developed into the full team that they are now, as long as their defense goes. You look back to week 1 when they gave up over 40 points to the Vikings, and you look at where they're at now. I think they're a completely different team, but they're still an offensive powerhouse. They held the Rams to less than 200 passing yards. Obviously, we said Jared Goff needed to step up, and he couldn't. That Jair Alexander is freaking awesome as a cornerback, might be the best cornerback this year. They had over 200 yards rushing and about 300 passing, like you said, almost 500 yards of offense. You can't argue that against the best defense in the league.
Exactly.
Alan Lazard and Robert Tonyan had 4 catches each, so not only was Davante Adams a big factor with 9 receptions, they had other people getting catches, which is something that the previous week didn't happen, so that just makes them even more dimensional than they already were. They had 4 sacks, and they went 8 for 12 on third down against, again, the best defense in the league. What I got for them that went wrong is they had no turnovers, and Cam Akers did have 90 rushing yards. Yeah. Now, if you look at Cam Akers versus who they're playing this week in the Bucs versus Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones, Cam Akers might be the 3rd best back there, so they've got to figure out their situation with the run game. If they can figure that out, I bet they're able to limit Tom Brady. They're going to have a good chance of winning that game.
I love that, by the way. I love that Cam Akers for sure would be the 3rd back. I don't think he's better than
Still a great back, but
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But it brings concern for next week, too. Mm-hmm. I think that another big statistic, I don't believe Aaron Donald had a sack that game.
No.
So, I know he's coming off a little bit of a rib injury against the Seahawks, but if you're containing the best pass rusher in the league, you're protecting your quarterback, and you give Aaron Rodgers time to throw the ball, you're in trouble.
Yeah, Rodgers had more touchdowns last week than Aaron Donald had tackles.
Yeah.
So there's a statistic there. Just overall, Packers did really well against the Rams. I thought there was going to be hope. You said that last week they were averaging 31.8 points a game. They put up 32. Yep. I think that stat reigns true. Moving on to the next. Moving on, we have the Buccaneers versus the Saints. We'll recap that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so Kelvin's feeling very happy with himself that he got this one right. The Saints obviously lost. They let me down. For what the Bucs got right, they had over 120 rushing yards. Rojo and Leonard Fournette had over 60 each. They looked very dimensional there as far as running goes, very versatile. They had 3 interceptions and 1 fumble, and that ultimately decided the game. The Saints are driving. They forced Cook to have a fumble. They went down and scored. You could argue that's a 14-point swing. The interceptions came late in the game. When you started to think the Bucs could win, they kept getting interceptions. When it looked like it was the Saints get one last chance to try and come back, Drew Brees throws another interception, nail in the coffin. The rest is history. Drew Brees is going to retire, by the way.
Yeah.
So sad ending to his career. They had less than 300 yards given up to one of the most versatile offenses in the game.
Yeah.
Alvin Kamara had 80 rushing yards. He had not as many targets as he normally does. Michael Thomas had 0 receptions. There's not too much to be said with that. When you look at all the surgeries he's having, you can blow it up and smoke all you want. That dude wasn't what he is.
I actually saw a tweet later in that week, but Michael Thomas saying he needed all that surgeries and stuff, and he just said he wanted to give a chance to actually win another bowl because he knew that Brees is probably going to be his last chance to give it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool on his end.
Yeah.
The only things I could find wrong with the Bucs was they allowed over 50% on third down. You can't do that. You can't give Aaron Rodgers all those chances. And then Tom Brady had less than 200 yards against the Saints defense. Obviously, the Saints have a very good defensive backfield. So do the Packers. We'll see how he responds next week, moving from the dome to the cold.
Yeah, I love it. If you look at Tom Brady's stats compared to Drew Brees' last game, Drew Brees actually threw more yards than him by a yard, 190 to 189.
Wow.
The only difference was that Drew Brees threw 3 picks, and if you were around me at all or any point in that night when he threw that last interception, you knew that I was pretty happy. again, the run game was awesome. Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones, 17 carries for Leonard Fournette, 13 for Ronald Jones. Average, they both have 62 to 63 yards. Great combo in the backfield. Tom Brady actually had a rush for 2 yards too. But the old man getting out there.
Oh, man.
But yeah, like you said, I love this receiving core, and if they're able to put those combo guards or combo running backs in the backfield, I love it. They're protecting Tom Brady. He's not getting hit. He had a 92.5 passer rating in the last game.
This game?
Yeah.
Even with that few yards, good for him.
92.9, yeah. And I just thought that they did everything that they needed to win the game. And that was contain Drew Brees and contain the receivers, hold Alvin Kamara to under 100 yards, and they did.
Well, they made Drew Brees decide the game, ultimately. Yeah. They knew that they had to have a chance to win this game with the weapons that the Saints have. They said, all right, let's make Drew Brees decide this game. They did. Quick shout-out, Jameis Winston, nice 52-yard touchdown pass against the Bucs, 1 for 1 on the year. But actually, he went in earlier, so. But,
I also thought that, shout-out to the Bucs defense, that they really stepped up and just were able to contain all those powerhouses they have on that offense, the Saints. So I think they're scary if they're able. I mean, they're hot right now. I think behind the Bills, they're the second hottest team in the league.
Yeah, they're ready to go. They're heating up at the right time. They're gelling at the right time. It's going to be a great game,
yeah.
Packers-Bucs. Next up, we will have the Bills and the Ravens recap. Why don't you start with this one?
I mean, Josh Allen, it's questionable. 206 yards and a touchdown. I mean, no interceptions, so no turnovers, which is great. But, I mean, their run game is nowhere to be seen. Devin Singletary had 25 yards last week. And this is something we mentioned prior last week, that their run game, I can't remember the last time that they had over a 100-yard rushing game from one of their running backs, which is scary going into an AFC playoff championship game. But like I said, I mean, the Bills' defense, how about those boys there holding the Ravens to 3 points? And if you hold a team to 3 points, you better be winning the football game.
Yeah. In terms of what I've got right and wrong, the Bills, they obviously shut down the run game. They held J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards to less than 50 yards apiece. That is no easy task. They held Lamar Jackson to under 200 yards total. That is, again, no easy task. They had an interception. They forced that interception. That defense, they went out there. They're saying, all right, let's make Lamar win this game with his arm. He couldn't do it. Unfortunately, got hurt. It's good to see he's doing all right, though.
Love the Bills Mafia, though, for what they did, giving all those donations to his charity of choice. I love that.
Yeah, the Bills Mafia, great fan base.
Yeah.
What the Bills did wrong, they were 4 for 13 on third down. They had 120 less yards than the Ravens, and they were less than 200 yards passing when they're a passing team, and they had 32 yards rushing. There's not too much going on the offensive side.
No.
And going against the Chiefs, this is a game where you need to score at least 21, 28 points.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, you're not going to beat this Chiefs team. A Chiefs team has a bad day, and they put up 22 points.
You all got to take in consideration that this was the Ravens defense that has been absolutely unbelievable all season, and the biggest stat that jumps out at me is no turnovers against them. They led the league in turnovers for their team, and I just think that, like I said, I think this might be the Josh Allen revenge tour. I think that's what it's shaping up to be right now, and it's gonna be really interesting to see what happens next week.
He's coming into his own.
Yeah, he's saying I'm here now. I'm here.
The last recap we'll have is Browns versus Chiefs. The Chiefs, they held Baker to less than 225 yards. He had 204 yards.
Yeah.
Especially with how Baker had been playing lately, that's great. Chubb had 70 yards. Hunt had 32. They probably went out there saying, let's make Baker beat us with his arm. He couldn't. Landry had 20 yards. Landry had become the favorite receiver for Baker. They obviously held him less than that. He had 7 catches and only 20 yards. And Darrell Williams had 94 yards total. And he was proving that they do have a run game when Hilaire and Bell are out. However, this week they're both going to be healthy.
Yeah.
So we're going to see how they use Williams in that. Kelsey and Hill combined for over 200 receiving yards, and they forced 2 turnovers. So there's not too much wrong there. And the only wrong thing that I could find for the Chiefs that game is they let the Browns go 3 for 3 on 4th down.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
I mean, you summed it up well. I mean, shout out to the Browns. It makes me want to throw up saying that. It just feels weird saying that. But I mean, I thought that the Chiefs, along with a lot of other people, were going to run away with it. And the Browns were in this game every step of the way. The Chiefs were never dominating at any point. However, like we said last week, the Chiefs are the number 1 offense in the league. They averaged 420 yards a game. Last week they had 438, 315 passing yards, 123 rushing yards, which they outrushed the Browns, which is one of the best running teams in the league, next to the Ravens, I would say.
Yeah.
And They had 7 yards per play. They were 5 for 10 on third down. They're looking really efficient. The big question mark, obviously, is going to be the health of Patrick Mahomes. It was just clear today that he cleared concussion protocol, but we'll see what happens. I think that they are the Chiefs. This Bills-Chiefs game is going to be really good.
Just to touch on that real quick, how does someone clear protocol that fast if he actually had a concussion?
I don't know. I thought it was really weird. If you looked at the hit, it's not like he got hit in the head.
He got like a whiplash.
He got a whiplash of like a guy. I don't know who tackled him, but he like wrapped around his neck, and then his like forehead hit the ground a little bit. I think it just was the way it was turned and the impact on his back that really made him
He
kind
was
of
still wobbly when he got
yeah.
up.
Oh yeah, he was out of it.
Yeah.
It was scary. It was scary.
Yeah, it was.
But that just also shows the resilience of this Chiefs team. They throw Chad Henne in there.
Anything is possible.
Anything. Did you think of that before the show?
No, that was Mahomes tweeted that. Mahomes tweeted that.
I love that.
All right, moving on. NFC Championship game. The Packers are favored by 3.5. Packers have won 3 of the last 4 meetings. The one that they lost was earlier this year in Tampa Bay. They lost 38-10.
Yeah. If you watched that game, that was the game I believe Aaron Rodgers had an absolute, probably his worst game of the season.
Yep, easily.
He threw, I believe, 2 or 3 picks, and one was a pick 6. And the Packers scored 10 points in the first quarter and then were shut out the rest of the game.
They were up 10-0.
10-0. Shut out the rest of the game. The Buccaneers then go on what was the final? 38?
38-10.
Yeah, 28-point second quarter. And I just, Tom Brady, man, how about this storyline? Tom Brady goes in, takes Drew Brees on, and is now playing an NFC Championship game. And we said this at the beginning of the year. Who won the Bill Belichick, Tom Brady talk and controversy? You have to give it to Tom Brady.
Yep, right now.
You have to, because he won 6 rings in New England, and now he's in another NFC Championship on his first year on a new team.
Switches division, switches conferences.
Everything. It goes from a cold weather environment to playing in the South in Tampa. I love it. I love it.
Who are you taking?
I'm taking the. I don't know. I would probably. I'm gonna roll with it. I'm not gonna go against it anymore. I'm going with the Bucs. Let's keep it rolling.
Man, I am taking the Packers in this game. I think that offense is so fun to watch, and it gets to the point where the Chiefs have an incredible offense. They're fun to watch and all that, but the Packers, the way they flow, it's a different type of flow.
They're really good. Devontae Adams is by far the best receiver in the league.
Yeah, I just don't. He's the best route runner by far, and now he's starting to make catches that number 1 receivers make in the league.
Yeah.
So on top of being open, the times that he's not open, he's making diving catches down the sideline, one-handed catches. I have to take the Packers in this one. It's going to be mid to low 20s, 50% chance of snow. I would take the latter on the snow because it's Green Bay. I'd take the Packers in this one. I bet it's a great game.
Would you take them by 3.5?
I wouldn't bet spread at all.
Okay. I think I like that.
I stay away from the spread in games like this.
Yeah, exactly. Play a championship game like that. The name I'm circling for this game is Aaron Jones, because Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers are going to do their thing. You got to be okay with that. You got to let the other factors on that Packers offense not beat you. And the Bucs have the best rush defense in the league. They're only allowing 80 yards per game. So I think if they're able to contain Aaron Jones and just focus a lot of their secondary on Devontae Adams and try and slow him down, they have to put pressure on Aaron Rodgers. That's the only way that their defense is going to be able to keep this team in the game.
Well, the Packers also have started to get Allen Lazard mixed into it. He's back. He's healthy. He was wide receiver number 2 on that team before he got hurt. Robert Tonyan has emerged in the playoffs as more of a target instead of just a red zone target.
Marquise Valdez-Smith.
MVS, Marquise Valdez-Scantling.
Yeah, Scantling.
Yeah, he's a beast himself, and you can't forget about him. He drops a lot of passes, but the dude gets open. He's
Deep
a
routes
downfield
too,
threat.
yes.
Yeah, he's a downfield threat. You can't deny that at all. So this is just going to be a great game. It's going to be absolute chess. It's going to be a chess match. My name to circle is Tom Brady.
Okay.
Last week he didn't perform. This week he needs to.
Yeah, has to.
And he did have a good QBR. However, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns is not going to be the Packers.
100? No, it's not. But there's one thing I wanted to point out to the weather too. The Bucs offensive. Tom Brady used to play in New England. Antonio Brown's used to playing in Pittsburgh.
Antonio Brown's out.
That
Announced today he's out.
Oh, is he injured?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I did not know that. That's a big factor.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. But Rob Gronkowski also played in the cold in New England. Mike Evans probably the only guy who's not susceptible to the cold.
And Godwin.
Yeah.
And the rest of that Bucs team, but offensively.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. We'll go on to the Chiefs and the Bills. Chiefs are favored by 3. Chiefs have won 4 of the last 5 against Buffalo, most recently winning this year 26-17 in Buffalo. Personally, I'm taking the Chiefs. I think this is going to be a great game. The Bills, man, they just have too much of a question mark for me right now. The Chiefs, what scares me the most about the Chiefs is they consistently are winning by one game, or one score, I'm sorry. They're consistently winning by one score, and that's something that I think needs to be noted, that eventually it's going to bite them in the butt. Was it going to be now? Is it going to be in the Super Bowl? Is it going to be next year? I don't know. They've won a lot of games this year by one score. Teams they shouldn't be beating by one score, they're beating by one score. I think if there's any team that could bite them in the butt, it's the Buffalo Bills. However, I'm still taking the Chiefs. Too much firepower. They were my preseason Super Bowl champions.
Sticking to it.
I just got to stick to it. What you got?
Hey, Andrew, can you zoom in on that? Is that possible? If we get the Bills Mafia chant going, I'm ready for it. I want the Kings dethroned. I want them gone. The Bills, I think, in my opinion, are the hottest team in the league right now. Their defense is scorching. Josh Allen's going to have a better game than he did last week against the Chiefs defense than he did against the Ravens. I would expect him to throw maybe 350, 400 yards, 3 touchdowns this game. It's going to be up to their defense to contain Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill. You got to be able to stop the run as well. Like you said, they have so many. Their offense is so potent that it is. If you don't slow down at least 2 of their top guys, you're still going to get hurt by the rest of those guys.
The other 4.
Exactly. So you got to pick your poison. It's going to be on the Chiefs defense and see what they're going to be able to do against the Bills. And this game, I'm hammering the Bills personally. I love that +3, and I'm taking them. I think the Bills are going to win outright.
Yeah, this is just going to be a great game. I do think that, like everything that you said, they have to contain the Chiefs. And I am rooting for the Bills Mafia. Shout out Allie. She came on the show, obviously.
Yeah, she's back.
But, man, this is just going to be it's a tough game to predict. It really is. You got to just stick with your gut instinct. And that's why I'm sticking with the Chiefs. But rooting for the Bills, hope they win. Chiefs are just too good, in my opinion, to lose.
Yeah, it's going to be a great coaching matchup, too. Andy Reid's going to definitely pull something out against a younger quarterback, too. And it's going to be, it could be game of the year.
Yeah. And winner of this has a very good chance of winning the Super Bowl.
Oh, do you think the title belongs in the AFC?
Man, I think it'd be a shame if it didn't, but if there's any team that could do it, you'd probably pick the Bucs or the Packers the way they're playing right now.
Do you think, okay, so case scenario, say the Chiefs win, do you think that either the Packers or the Bucs could beat them in a Super Bowl game?
I'd take Packers. I'd prefer the Packers.
Yeah.
I think the Packers match up pretty well against them. I think they're fairly similar.
I would just love to see Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady play each other in a Super Bowl.
Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers isn't anything different.
You're right.
There's a lot of good talent this
I can't
year.
argue with that. It's just like I feel like Patrick Mahomes is like the up-and-coming guy on the throne.
The true passing of the torch.
He really is the next guy in line after Aaron Rodgers is gone. Tom Brady's been the guy on the throne since 20 years now. So I would love to see that matchup, but I would way rather see the Bills beat the Chiefs and dethrone them.
Well, hey, it could easily be the Bills and the Bucs too, and just make it something
crazy.
Else. Yeah. But all right, that's all we have for this week's show for Kelvin Reisenfeld. We are out of here.
Yep.
UFTV is your university and community TV station.